If you really want to understand World War II beyond the battles and speeches, you have to look at the soil. Food production during the war wasn't a lifestyle trend or a hobby. It was survival under pressure. Food production during the war wasn't a lifestyle trend or a hobby. It was survival under pressure. Farmers were working with rationing, fuel shortages, bomb damage, and labour gaps left by men at the front. What emerged from that stress was a hard-earned knowledge of crops that could grow in poor conditions, store for months, and feed families without dependency on imports. Many of those vegetables have quietly vanished from modern fields, replaced by fragile, high-input crops. That loss matters, especially for anyone interested in resilience, food security, or historical accuracy. These vegetables weren't grown because they were fashionable. They were grown because they worked. During the Second World War, British and European farmers, they really had to put calories per acre, storage life and reliability above any sort of taste trends. Crops needed to survive in depleted soils and unpredictable weather, all while producing steady yields no matter what. These vegetables, you see, were like insurance policies. They fed civilians during rationing and kept livestock alive when feed was honestly pretty scarce. And today, those very same traits make them valuable all over again, especially in this era of climate instability and, supply chain fragility. The Swede was, without a doubt, a calorie-dense backbone of wartime diets. Swedes, which folks often confuse with turnips, were a staple because they thrived in cold, wet soil and produced heavy roots just packed with energy. Farmers truly valued them for both human consumption and animal feed, making them absolutely indispensable back then. A single Swede crop could stretch meals through winter without refrigeration. Reintroducing Swedes today makes sense for anyone serious about self-sufficiency. Grow them in late summer, harvest after the first frost, and store them in sand or cool cellars. They offer reliable calories when, leafy greens fail. Jerusalem artichokes quietly solved the winter hunger problem. Jerusalem artichokes were a wartime secret weapon. They grow aggressively, ignore poor soil, and return year after year. During the war, they provided both human food and pig feed when grain supplies were tight. Their underground tubers could be harvested even in frozen ground. For modern growers, planting them along fence lines creates a low-maintenance calorie source. They're particularly valuable for survival gardens because, honestly, they require almost no care once established. Mangold proved that leafy greens could survive harsh conditions. Mangold, a type of hardy chard, replaced spinach during the war because it tolerated cold and repeated harvesting. Farmers relied on it for vitamins when fresh produce was scarce. Unlike modern greens bred for tenderness, mangold was resilient. A single planting could provide leaves for months. Today, it's ideal for anyone wanting steady nutrition from a small space. Just cut outer leaves weekly and let the plant continue producing without replanting. Parsnips offered sweetness without sugar imports. Sugar was tightly rationed during the Second World War, making naturally sweet vegetables more valuable. parsnips filled that gap. They improved after frost, stored well, and provided carbohydrates without relying on imported goods. Farmers appreciated their ability to remain in the ground through winter. Modern growers can use parsnips the same way, treating the soil as storage. You can just leave them until needed, reducing dependence on refrigeration or freezers. Kohlrabi was grown because it matured fast and wasted nothing. Kohlrabi matured quickly, allowing farmers to rotate crops efficiently under wartime pressure. Both the bulb and leaves were edible, making it a zero-waste vegetable. This mattered when labour and land were limited. Today, kohlrabi fits perfectly into intensive garden systems. Plant it between slower crops and harvest within weeks. It's an efficient use of space that modern agriculture has largely ignored. Field beans kept protein on the table when meat disappeared. With meat heavily rationed, protein became a serious concern. Field beans were widely grown because they improved soil while feeding people and animals. They were dried, stored, and ground into flour or stews. Reintroducing field beans today is practical for anyone interested in protein independence. They also restore nitrogen to depleted soil, reducing fertilizer dependence. Salsify earned its nickname as the oyster vegetable for a reason. Salsify was valued for its rich flavour and long storage potential. It grew deep roots that accessed nutrients other crops couldn't reach. Farmers planted it, knowing it would survive neglect. Modern growers can use salsify as a deep soil conditioner while gaining a nutritious root crop. It's particularly useful in compacted or poor ground. Turnip-rooted parsley blurred the line between herb and staple. This forgotten vegetable provided both roots and leaves during the war. It was grown because it offered versatility when options were limited. Today, it makes sense for compact gardens where every plant must earn its space. Use the leaves as parsley and the root as a mild parsnip substitute, maximizing output from a single crop. Skirret was once a medieval staple, revived out of necessity. Skirret reappeared during the Second World War because it tolerated damp soils and cold climates. It produces clusters of sweet roots that store well. Farmers valued it for marginal land. Modern survivalists can, reintroduce skirret into wet or flood-prone areas where modern vegetables struggle. These crops represent knowledge forged under pressure. They reduce dependency on fragile systems and reward patience rather than constant inputs. Growing them today isn't nostalgia, it's preparation. Start by introducing one or two into your garden each season. Learn their storage methods. Test their resilience in your local conditions. That's exactly how wartime farmers refined their choices. If you found this guide valuable and want more deep practical history like this, subscribe to Iron Age Instincts. Share this video with fellow historians and survivalists and keep these lessons alive by putting them back into the ground.